recording or
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Patton SmartNode product line overview. If you are with us today, you are a onboarded reseller, so thank you. We are going to go over the SmartNode product line today, and with me I have Bret Patton. He is our product manager for the SmartNode products. So Bret, I'll leave it to you.
Great, thanks, Jen. So I guess I'll do first a brief overview just of Patton, and then we'll go over what kind of partners and customers we have. Obviously, we'll be going over the product portfolio today, some of the key features of the SmartNodes. We'll go over some of the most common or popular use cases, as well as talk a little bit about this cool web wizard we have and some other values of Patton products. So Patton Electronics has been doing business for 30 plus years. I think it's 32 or 3 now, or maybe a little bit more. I'm not exactly sure. But it was started by 2 brothers back in '84, and the family-run, operated, privately held business. We own all of our own intellectual property. We do manufacturing here, so we have control of that, as well as software and hardware engineering and development. So when it comes to our products, we basically own every aspect of the product and the quality and future developments. So just a little bit more about how we operate, I guess. What we do, we've got VoIP gateways and enterprise session border controllers. The gateway integrates IP to TDM and back the other way. So we've got analog FXS and FXO gateways, as well as ISDN gateways. For the US market here, the BRI isn't really relevant, but we have T1 PRI gateways. The products scale anywhere from 1 port on FXS, FXO, all the way up to 3 DS3s or 64 T1s. The enterprise session border controller, that's sometimes can have the gateway functionality built into it, but its primary purpose is to serve as a service demarcation point between the customer LAN and the service provider's WAN. So it's used for topology hiding, as to protect the IP-PBX from the WAN, as well as to protect the service provider. So depending on which side of the equation your customer is, they might be interested in having this device deployed. It controls quality of service we do upstream and downstream QoS, as well as security. So there's ways that you can prevent fraud and detect and block DOS attacks, so that you don't have any downtime or lose business or not be able to make phone calls because of having a flooded network. So Patton software strategy, we currently have a transitioning happening from our older legacy software operating system that we called smartware, and we're transitioning everything, and we're nearly completed the process at this point, switching everything from smartware to Trinity. And at the same time, we've started development on a virtual SmartNode or virtual Trinity that can be loaded essentially on any hardware. We've done it on x86 and Raspberry Pi, ARM processor platforms, and several others. It's a proprietary operating system. It's based off of Linux. And the virtual stuff is SDN and NFV ready and can be scalable depending on the size of the hardware. So we're moving to having one operating system. This one operating system is running on essentially all of our products, depending if it's in the smartware or SmartNode portfolio or not. So if you had come to any of the other product overview trainings that we've done, you might have heard the word Trinity before, because it's also on those products. So having one operating system on any hardware with many products. Makes it pretty flexible, and once you know how to use one product, you basically know how to use them all. It's just a matter of configuring which ports based on the hardware that you have. And it's all controlled the same way with CLI configuration, but we also have Web GUI for configuration, as well as a wizard that can make things extremely easy for you doing deployments or installs. So what are some of the features available in this Trinity operating system on SmartNode? There's security. So we've got SIP TLS and SRTP. You can have a stateful firewall set up for fraud prevention. You can do a whitelisting of IP addresses. There's OpenVPN, secure provisioning with HTTPS, and various forms of connectivity available on Trinity. There's a USB port that can be used for 3G, 4G, cellular support for failover, or even in a mobile application where that might be the only form of connectivity available while you're on the move. There's also gigabit Ethernet ports. Trinity has quality of service, so there's QoS management, there's network assessing and monitoring features available. And the products running Trinity are very user-friendly with a web wizard for fast and easy installations. And this is also future-proof, so everything we're developing now is based on this, and we're constantly making software upgrades and modifications and new features. This actually goes over briefly how our software release strategy works. It happens basically in several stages. There's a new software build every 2 months. There's 2 maintenance builds and a technology build. So we ensure that everything is stable, field proven, tested, and ready to go by the time the next major release or even minor release is available. Here's a familiar list of companies. These are several of our partners that we've done deployments with, and some of them we even have more closely held partnerships with technology and certification and interoperability and things like that. Some of the major ones that we do work with is Broadsoft in the US. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with them. 3CX for their IP PBX, and Microsoft, which we're in the process of becoming certified with the Skype for Business. So here's just some of our customers that we've sold in the past. A lot of service providers inside and outside of the US. All right, so categories of products. I've already kind of mentioned the gateway and the eSBC. We have some other products that sort of fall in between those 2 categories, which would be the gateway router and the integrated access device, where you actually get to have different forms of WAN connectivity other than just your standard Ethernet connection. So we support fiber interfaces, G.sh DSL, ADSL, as well as VDSL, X21, V35. So it's pretty flexible device. Anything you'll encounter in the field, we probably have a solution for it. So just ask. Here's the Patton analog gateway portfolio. This is scaling from 1 up to 32 FXS ports. This table does a nice job of showing sort of how each product sort of builds on the other, adding more and more features and functionalities. You can see in this list we've got the IADs with the WAN connectivity coming from the 4830 and the 4900, and then some other channel banks on the right that scale up to 32 ports, and then the smaller gateways on the left. And they all have various numbers of Ethernet ports as well. We also have the PRI Gateway Portfolio. These are 1 or 4 PRIs currently, and we have some newer models that we're releasing as well, probably later this year, that'll scale a little bit higher than that, and also have other options for 2 ports instead of just 1 or 4. Here's more of a carrier grade SS7 gateway, media gateway. the SN10100 or SN10K series. The 10100 is the smallest in this, and it is 4 to 8 PRI ports or T1s, and then the 10200 and 300. The 100 and 200 can be configured to have a 1+1 redundant backup solution, as well as dual power supplies and all the things that carriers demand. And then the 10300 is a large, very large call capacity, 32,000 voice channels, and it's a stack of gateways that have redundant controller units and a switch between everything, and can balance the traffic, and it's pretty significant install and effort and system, and people seem to love them. But yeah, so you get your N+1 redundancy with that. So, all right, here's the ESBC portfolio. We scale up to 200 SIP sessions in a single device, as well as some of these devices will support transcoding and have access for the 3G, 4G fallback connection. And there's also, of course, other WAN connectivity available in these devices. We also have a whole slew of appliances. Some of these are sold with Windows on them, and you can put your instance of 3CX, or just use the free version of 3CX if you wish. And we also sell the platform completely open, where it's got our gateway installed alongside of a server or computer in a single device. So it's nice and rack mountable, as you can see there. And then you can load your own version of Asterisk or some other software that you might want to use alongside the gateway in that device. Very nice for a small business installation where there's not a ton of space and they don't have a huge need for having, 100 phone lines. They just need 4, 8, 16, 32, some down like that. So smaller ones. We also have the option where we sell something called the SN OSB on the far right column there. We've got Linux installed on that one, and it's running OpenScape business software from Unify. So it's a full unified communications suite, I guess. And then our gateway is built in as well to integrate the legacy equipment. So those are some fun things. Here's a thing or a slide showing you the features of the SmartNode with the OpenScape business appliance running the Unify software. A whole bunch of different features and functionalities all around this graph. We could probably get into each one of them individually, but I don't think we need to spend too much time on it. But you can see it's a pretty full-featured suite of stuff. All right, so we're going to talk about some applications here, some basic applications. The first one we'll get into is the VoIP Gateway application. I think most people are familiar with this by now. Basically, you have your legacy PBX that costs a lot of money. Nobody wants to throw it away. That's maybe been financed and they haven't paid it off yet, so it would be really sad to have to throw it out. But we have this new thing called SIP trunks, and it's a cheaper way to get your phone service. And oftentimes the contracts are more flexible than what phone service contracts used to be. So you can get that, save money, have it terminated in a SmartNode. For example, here we've got a 4170, and then connect your legacy PBX and basically get a little bit more life out of that system. Also with that device, you could enable SIP TLS and SRTP on the other side for securing your network. Zero-touch provisioning is also available with this device, where basically we set up a few parameters in the background and have a config ready for it, and when it gets plugged in and has internet, it'll pull down its config from a provisioning server and be up and running in a matter of seconds. All right, so all IP migration. This is a little bit more complicated network diagram here. You still have your old legacy PBX, let's say, that's PRI in this case, and you're starting to implement or integrate some IP PBX and SIP phones, and your PCs and everything's on the LAN there. But you still have your old PRI service and you want to get the SIP service. So this can be used here. The 5570 kind of as a transitional device. So you can keep your old service with your old equipment, put this device in, and start leveraging the benefits of a SIP trunk and connecting it to your IP PBX on the other side. The box has a pretty strong call router built into it. It's really flexible. You can decide where calls can go, and let's say everything coming in, or everything from the PBX, let's say you want to send it out the PRI, or you want to always have certain calls go out on your SIP trunk, you can decide that in your routing policies. So we've got the all IP carrier network migration. This is using the SN10Ks as well as some of our other 1000 series gateways at other remote sites. So this gives you a common SIP interface, so no need for adaptation per customer. It's got proven operability with many ISDN and SIP systems, so you can see all different types of equipment being connected here. It's fast and easy deployment. You can have this set up with secure provisioning. It's stable for long-term operation, especially with the redundant options with the 1+1 or even the N+1 to ensure you have uptime or no downtime. And then we also have the reliable fax and voice that actually works. So a lot of our devices can be connected to fax machines with an FX S port, and we pretty much guarantee that we can work. Oh yeah, and as well in this case, you can integrate your OSS BSS management system. All right, so now we're moving on to the all IP ESBC network diagram or application. So this device here is being used for as a demarcation point, similar to the first application where it was just a gateway there, but it's also doing SIP normalization. So SIP is not always the same. You've got TCP, UDP, a few other variations. We can basically make the SIP work with any other SIP. You can have pretty much any SIP trunk provider, any IP PBX, put this device in between them, and then ensure that it's gonna work every time. So you don't have to, let's say only sell one type of PBX or only have customers. This doesn't limit the customers that you can go after, because it doesn't matter what equipment they have. Using the ESBC can make it all work properly together. It also controls the VoIP transcoding, so you're going between the PBX and the SIP trunk, or PBX and a unified communication system. This can handle transcoding for that. We support a whole host of different codecs, a few listed here: G711, G729. We also have support for G722 HD now. As I mentioned earlier, doing the different protocol conversions, as well as handling encryption, TLS, and SRTP for security. Handled obviously with the TLS and the secure RTP. That's a feature that can be turned on. We have stable firewall and ACLs. We can do web prevention with and sub-trust here, do inbound hijack authentication, and network topology hiding. So there's different ways to secure your voice network. So here's some screenshots of various traffic arriving and being shaped and ensuring quality assurance. So we ensure basically that you get the best quality of voice. So whether that's being done by traffic shaping or burst tolerant shaping, or using our downstream QoS, that's all available, different features for how we do it, as well as weighted fair queuing. All right, so Web Wizard, I mentioned this at the beginning for ease of installation. Some function of the Web Wizard provides simple application-specific web user. So where it's a Trinity device, a smartware device, we can get a configuration out of the wizard. The good thing about having Trinity on your hardware is that the web wizard can actually be run natively on the device. And you don't have to export configurations or copy paste XML files or anything like that. The reason why we did this, web wizard, basically our products are really feature rich, and sometimes they can be complex to configure. Oftentimes you don't need to configure every parameter that's available. Depending on what your use case is, you might just not need all of that. So with the web wizard, it can kind of limit what you're seeing and give you like the basics for your configuration. And web wizards can be created like customized essentially, and there's a whole family of people, I guess, or community of people online that are creating wizards, and we're testing them, making sure that they work, and there's a place online where you can go and pull down that wizard for your specific application. Yeah, let's see. So as I mentioned, the creators, the wizard community. So you can become a creator. Let's say you get certified on patent products or devices, and you've got some spare time on your hands and you think creating wizards is really fun, then we will gladly allow you to create them and submit them for our review. So a lot of times our let's say champion customers, the people who have been doing business with us for a long time, they enjoy contributing and being a part of the community. So it's the next generation of text-based configuration template. So conventionally, this is what it looked like. You've got these CLI attributes here that you can configure with your IP WAN and your gateway IP address. What we did was basically translate that to make it look like this, something much more familiar and easy to work with. So with just a few of these parameters here, you can have your wizard create your configuration for you. So you can define the preset values and then just walk through the configuration. It'll generate the XML file and be put onto the Trinity device after the execution. But that's just a little screenshot of online what the community looks like. You can be a user or a creator. Most people are users, so you just go there to get your custom wizard. So zero touch provisioning, how does that work? We do it through secure HTTPS. This reduces the misconfiguration of CPEs. We like it because it cuts down on support calls. The device can be deployed and configured without any additional assistance. It saves you time and money on the install because time is money. And this can actually cut down on the number of truck rolls that you have to do. You can essentially have the device drop ship to your customer with some instructions on how to plug it in. They could do it themselves, or you could have a technician go out and install it. But we've had people using this for a while now, and I think like the average time for installation is down to like 5 minutes, based on how long it takes to get it out of the box and plug it in and put it on the right spot in the customer location, and then you're done. It's really easy to use, and we help you set it up on the back end. So some of the summary values of patent products. We make very high quality products manufactured in the United States. They have a really long lifespan. Some devices have been deployed and out there for 10, 15 years. They're very stable. People like it because you can basically figure it, set it, and forget it. We've proven interoperability because we've been creating these devices and in the market for so long. We've essentially completed testing with the whole ecosystem, and even the people that we haven't done specific testing, we have enough features and flexibility with the device that we can make it work with essentially any equipment. There's one operating system, so every SmartNode is using the same scheme. If you know how to configure a single port device, you could configure a 32 port device. It's just a matter of how many you've got. We're doing continuous software releases every 2 months. That's currently free of charge. I think we're actually making a policy change here in the process where the device needs to be under warranty in order to get major software releases. But the warranty is pennies on the dollar. It's pretty cheap. And I recommend it, just good practice. The devices are very flexible. You can adapt them to essentially any use case. We only talked about a few different applications just because we have limited time clearly on a webinar. But you can make it do anything you want. It's very flexible, very powerful device. And then as well as security. So again, we have the SIP-TLS and SRTP. The device works as a service demarcation point, support for VPN, OpenVPN, as well as IPsec. And then all IP, the ESBC portfolio is for your migration to all IP, and it's ready for already migrated networks as well. I don't think we're doing any questions and answer today, Jen, unless anybody submitted questions.
I don't see any questions. Let's give it just 1 minute to see if there are any questions out there.
Yeah, if you have a question, you can just type it in the in the question box or chat box. All right, well, if there's no questions right now, we will conclude this webinar. Feel free to reach out to myself, Bret, or Jen, and we can answer your questions in the future.
All right, thank you, Bret, for teaching us a little bit more about the SmartNode product. And like Bret said, if you need to reach me, you can reach me at Jenn, Jenn, @patton.com, or on my office phone, which is 240-912-1238. Thank you all for attending, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.